Hey, how you doing? Today we're in for a treat. You and I are going to use a Nuwave smart pressure cooker to make some awesome low sugar hot apple walnut cobbler. We're going to make it super easy and there's going to be virtually no mess. Sounds pretty good, huh? So you ready? Let's get into this. Alright, for this recipe we're going to need Granny Smith apples, some water, a couple of medium-sized lemons, walnut pieces, some cornstarch, all-purpose flour, either sugar or a sugar substitute. I'm using monk fruit sweetener instead of sugar to cut down on the calories and the carbohydrates. And the same thing goes for light brown sugar. This is actually brown swerve sweetener. Next we need some ground cinnamon. I've got this divided up into a large portion and a small portion. That's because one is going for the topping and one is going for the apple mix on the inside. Next we got a little bit of sea salt, some vanilla extract, and last but not least, unsalted butter. If you'd like to make this recipe, all the ingredients and measurements are down in the description of the video, along with the calorie count, the protein, the carbs, and the fat. Now that we have all our ingredients, the first thing we have to do is a little bit of prep work. We have to prepare the apples, the butter, and these lemons. Just like our other ingredients, we want everything to be pre-portioned, pre-cut, and ready to go for the recipe. The French actually have a term for doing this, and that would be called mise en place. Roughly translated, that means everything in place. That's done in all professional kitchens for organization, and for you, it's even more important. By having all your stuff prepped ahead of time, it makes everything a lot easier. You don't have to worry as much about timing, and most of all, you find out if you have all of the ingredients for your recipe before you get started. Don't ask me how I know that. For the butter, we just want to have this melted. So we're going to put it into the microwave, heat it on low power for about a minute or so. Remember, we don't want to cook it, we just want to melt it. So don't go crazy with that. For these lemons, we're going to do two different things. We need the juice for both of these lemons, but we need the zest for one of these lemons. So we're gonna zest one of the lemons first because it's a lot harder to zest it after you've cut it up and smushed it. And then after that, we'll get the juice. And this is what a zester looks like. So we'll stick that off. This is really easy. You just wanna be careful not to zest your hand because that would suck. So all we wanna do is take our lemon, put it on a nice solid surface like this, and we're gonna take the zester and just go one direction, all the way around like this. We don't want to push into the lemon too much. We just want to get that top layer of zest, this stuff right here. You don't want to zest this so much that you're going all the way through to the white pith. If you do that, it's going to end up kind of bitter, and we're trying to avoid all that. We just want some lemon flavor. You're going to be tempted to pick this lemon up and zest it in the air. I wouldn't recommend doing that because you'll probably cut your hand. Just take your time. It's a little bit annoying, but remember, this isn't a race. Okay, and once you get done zesting, your leftover lemon's gonna look like that. Now we can just take all the zest I got here, and we'll just stick that right in there. Now for our lemon juice, that's just as easy as just squashing these down a little bit. Okay, now that we got our lemon juice, we can set that aside. And also, our butter is ready as well. Now, the only thing we have left is to prep these apples right here. The first thing we have to do is peel these skins off, and I'm gonna bet you've probably used a peeler before. So we'll just fly through this really quick. Once you have these peeled, they're gonna look just a little bit like that. Once you start peeling them, they're gonna start browning a little bit on you. That's why we wanted to do this last. Now the last bit of prep work that we gotta do is to slice these. I like to cut these into 4 pieces first, so you cut it the long ways once, then you cut it again like that, and then you're gonna wanna cut out the portion with the core. The way I like to do this is I hold the quartered apple with the round side down, just holding it with my fingertips, and then I'll take the knife, come in at a 45-degree angle, and just go about halfway down, then flip this around and do the exact same thing on the other side, and then just pop that out just like that. Once you've done that, we're gonna wanna slice these, and we're gonna wanna keep them pretty uniform if we can, so we can slice down from the center, and then just rock the apple quarter a little bit as you go. Just like that. Now all we have to do is all of that same stuff for all these apples. And now finally, we're ready to start. And what kind of guy would I be if I didn't give the Chew crew a little bit of apple? You want some apples? Chippy. Is it too big? There you go, Bean. Everybody's happy. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is take a large mixing bowl, throw in our apples, throw in our chopped walnuts. You wanna give this a quick stir to get these mixed at least reasonably well. Try not to do what I did and just knock all your walnuts out. When you mix these, be careful not to manhandle your apples too much because we don't want to just break these up in little pieces. I suppose you can, it doesn't change the flavor or anything, but I am anal retentive, so I don't want to do that. Next, we're going to take this mixture and we're going to pour it into an 8-inch baking pan. You don't want to mix this in the baking pan because you don't want to risk messing up the surface of your baking pan. Capiche? Okay, next in a separate bowl, we're gonna put in our lemon juice, our lemon zest, our monk fruit sweetener, our cornstarch, and the smaller portion of cinnamon. You're gonna take a whisk, combine these really well. Make sure you don't leave too many remnants on the sides of your bowl here like I am. Otherwise, your measurements are gonna be off a little bit. Now we're just gonna go back to our apple mixture here, and we're gonna gently pour this right over it, trying to get a nice even layer all the way across this. Now we'll just gently kind of stir this a little bit just to make sure that that gets evenly distributed. If you poured it over here really even, then you probably won't have to do this too much. And that's preferable because we don't want to make a big mess. And now we want to let this sit for about 5 minutes to let those flavors kind of come together a little bit. All right, next I'm going to take my reversible rack from my pressure cooker. If you have a smart pressure cooker like this that can do multiple things like air frying and sauteing, then it should have come with a rack like this. If it didn't, then you can always pick up something like this from Amazon. So I'm going to take my 8-inch baking pan. I'm going to set it right on top of this reversible rack. The rack can be set this way if you want this to sit a little bit lower in the machine, or you can flip this over and set it that way if you were air frying something. We're gonna pour our water into the pressure cooking pot. We're gonna set this whole rack right in here with our baking pan. And now we need to set our machine. My Nuwave Smart Cooker has a feature called Combo Cook. What it is you can program 2 functions to happen back to back. If you've got a machine that can't do that, that's perfectly fine. You can just break this down into 2 separate tasks. So I'm gonna hit my Combo Cook button. You can see right now that it's on pressure cook. So I can just turn this dial and change the time down to 7 minutes. We're gonna leave the pressure at high. And if you can't do a combo cook, we'd be doing this part right now. Since we do have that, we're gonna hit the Combo Cook button again. And now you can see that it's set to air fry. The temperature is set at 350. We are going to change that to 400. We're going to hit the time button, and then we're going to change that to 10 minutes. Now our pressure cooker lid is going to go onto this machine. We'll lock it into place, and we want to make sure that the pressure relief valve is set to the closed position. Very important. If you don't do that, it's not going to build up pressure, and you're going to be waiting a really long time. Now we're ready to pressure cook, so all we gotta do is hit the start button. But while we're waiting, we can make our topping. So we're gonna take a medium bowl again, and we'll take our dry ingredients, the all-purpose flour, the salt, our cinnamon, and our swerve brown sugar, and we're gonna stir these to get them combined really well. Now we're gonna add in our vanilla extract and our melted butter. And we want to stir this to get this incorporated as well. And you'll know that this is right when it has kind of a little crumbly texture like this. You shouldn't see any liquid, pools of butter, nothing like that. Now we can just set this aside and wait for the pressure cook to get finished. Hey, by the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. Now that this is done pressure cooking, we're going to let this machine sit just like this for about 10 minutes so the pressure can naturally come down. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, so we're going to open this valve and release whatever pressure is left in here. And once that's released, check it a couple of times, make sure there's no pressure, and we'll carefully open this lid. Remember, under no circumstances should you ever try to open the lid on a pressure cooker unless you're absolutely sure that there's no pressure built up in it any longer. That's been the cause of an awful lot of people getting hurt using these things. What? As far as this pressure cooker goes, if I can move the lid this easily, then you kind of know there's no pressure in there because you couldn't turn it if that was the case. Anyway, we'll pop this off. And that is looking pretty darn good so far. So we are gonna carefully stir this contents again, just to make sure that everything is evenly distributed. And you see we got a lot more of the nice gooey stuff down there at the bottom. We would like that not to all be at the bottom. What you'd like to do is you kind of want to see some of that walnut up here at the top. Once you get done stirring this up, just sort of move stuff around to try to get this nice and even again. And then we're gonna let this sit and thicken for about 10 minutes. And after it's been about 10 minutes, we'll be ready to throw on our topping. So we just wanna scoop this right on top here. Be careful to get it all into the baking pan. Now that I've just said that, I'm probably gonna make a huge mess. Once you got that in there, just kind of move it around just to get this evenly distributed. And now we're gonna put on our air fryer lid, and we can just hit start to run our second program for the combo. Just in case you forgot, if you don't have a machine like this and you can't do combo cook, our air fry portion is 400 degrees for 10 minutes. So in about 10 minutes, we should have a finished cobbler. Okay, now that our air fry is done, let's take a look at what we got here. And that's looking pretty darn good. Now we're just gonna let this sit out for just a few minutes to cool down, and we can serve it out. Wow, that cobbler came out so unbelievably good. And the best part is that for me, you can eat it with virtually no guilt. If you'd like a little bit more information about the Nuwave smart pressure cooker that I used to make this recipe, I do have an Amazon affiliate link for it down in the description of the video. If you buy anything through those links, I do make a small commission, but it doesn't change the price that you pay, 1 cent. If you like this video, I think you might like this video right here where I used a smart pressure cooker to make some awesome Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. Those are awesome, they take almost no time to make, and I think it's gonna be one of your go-tos. Well, that's it for now. I hope to see you back again here really soon, and until that time, I'm Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.